Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. It's a Sunday morning today. It's kind of a gloomy day. Probably expect some rain for most of the afternoon, so looking forward to that. Probably going to be staying in most of the day. And I got 5 LPs lined up for today as well. 3 online, 2 from the shop in Omaha. Just decided to take a jaunt down there last Friday at Grapefruit Records. Always come out of there with something. And one of them was a blind pick, and it was a really good purchase. We'll be talking about it. We got a little continuous theme going on, as you know. For those that have been watching my channel for quite some time, you know that my pronunciation of some certain common words really sucks. I know. I'm aware of this. And of course, we got one of those comments from someone on the last update where I mispronounced Gabor Szabo's name. That's just the way it rolled off my tongue, and it's one of those anonymous, users that has no profile picture, 3 subs from probably bots or people that like their comments from negative comments, and that's the only comment he's ever left on my channel. Just, hey, it's pronounced this way, not that way. It's like, really? I know I mispronounced it, okay? It's like, you're gonna be seeing more of that in the future. And especially in this video too. So, because some of these bands, they're not from this region, and I'm gonna mispronounce this first one and probably the last one. So, hope you enjoy, buddy. Anyways, we're gonna start off with this one. So, I'm gonna totally butcher this name. This is Piel de Pablo, rock band out of Argentina, and their album is called Rock de las herius. This is a reissue. I picked this one up online out of Spain. No copies in the US for sale. And I made some funds on my last sale. Pretty good sale. I finally sold that one gospel record I found in Fremont. I was expecting a little more out of it, but no one was biting, so I just kind of threw a low price on it. But anymore, my direction, what I really want to pick up is stuff like this, stuff that's a little out of reach, quality reissues that are kind of limited and focused on bands like outside the US. And this is one I just been listening to lately. I was like, this would be a good grab. So yeah, from Spain, basically in total costed about 40 bucks US dollars, but definitely love this record, man. If you guys love that hard rock, I mean, their primary focus is hard rock, but it's definitely acid drenched pretty much all throughout. Got a lot of wah-wah guitar on here. And, I'd say it's kind of similar in the vein of all those South American groups. What's the band? Pablo's Blues, Aqua Turbia, among those kind of groups, very acid-laced. And the mixing on this, the production value is off the charts good, considering where it was recorded at. This is fiery stuff here. So yeah, I don't speak the native language. It's definitely Spanish oriented, but apparently the theme of here is very much protest heavy, alongside, just some fiery hard rock and blazing guitar throughout. There's a couple softer moments, but they're used in a more like progressive movement or, kind of a slower tempo in spots, but definitely some highlights on here. Here's a little hype sticker. I guess 500 copies here. And yeah, this one came out in 2012. And this is very good fidelity and textured cover. Nice texture to it. It's got lyric sheet and a little bio. So yeah, like I said, if you guys love, even kind of reminds me of High Tide, because there's some use of violin on this as well. And a little bit on the bluesy side too, but you know how I am with blues. I'm not too big on blues, but the way they use the blues passages are so heavy, you don't even care to notice. I mean, it's not that slow, brooding blues that I can't stand, but yeah, these guys were definitely listening to some Zeppelin, I think, and maybe some Grand Funk Railroad. Some of those US hard bands at the time. And this came out in '73 as well, so it's a little late for the scene, but definitely sounds more circa 1970. So definitely check this out. It is streaming, so at least on YouTube it is. I'm pretty sure it's on Spotify. Check her out. And then, yeah, I guess I never really mentioned all the different genres we're going to cover. So the first two are really heavy. And then the remaining three are more folk-oriented, singer-songwriter, and a compilation. But this next one, this is one that goes way back for me. For some reason, just never owned it. Wasn't really in a hurry to get it or anything. It just, I happened to revisit it one day and I was like, damn, I used to play this all the time, like on YouTube, and I had like MP3s of it back when those were a thing. And I had like a little iPod I would put all these songs on back in like, early 2010s. Back when YouTube's algorithm wasn't all messed up and you could actually, side scroll forever on these obscurities. And this happened to be one of them. Crushed Butler, Uncrushed. It's a compilation from 2009, although there's several variations of this one. I think it all came out in like 98 originally. Has a little photo insert. So this band, UK based, there's a lot of history with this band as well. It's kind of known to be featuring a Jesse Hector, I think his name is. And he's like the lead guitarist on here. And he was also later to be with Hammersmith Gorillas. And then they dropped the Hammersmith and became Gorillas. And then he was with another band called Helter Skelter. Lots of variations of different groups. During the early 70s, kind of forming into more like pub and blues rock oriented, a little bit of glam in there as well. But talks about their whole history here. Crushed Butler, off and on, was sort of a thing. They played from 69 till 71, off and on. And they could never really lay down a legitimate contract, it seemed, because they were almost too punk for the, music business at the time. Seemed like week by week, they were always kind of all over the map. So, but even though this is a LP's worth, it seems, I think it only runs in length at like 20 minutes. So it has like the length of an EP. But these songs, man, they are crushers. At least I think they are. There's some mixed reviews online of this, and I'm like, what are you talking about? This is some killer shit. You got tracks like the whole first side, It's My Life, great opening track, Factory Grime, has like some of the most unintelligible lyrics in the world, and the cymbals, they just bash on that thing, and it's just a continuous whirlwind of like, sounds of like early UFO, mixture of like the punk attitude with the Deviants, and a little bit of dashes of Sabbath in there as well with some of those blues licks in their early days with My Son's Alive. Love Fighters, probably the most metal on here. I mean, it's not super metal, but it's just more hard rock, I guess. But Love Is All Around Me, it's kind of got a cool boogie to it, and I'm not even a boogie rock fan, and that song still kicks some serious ass. So yeah, definitely check this one out. It's all unreleased at the time, and you can still pick this up on the affordable end. I think 10, 15 bucks maybe around there. And this is some good, energetic, early proto-punk stuff from the time period. Really love it. So let me keep moving along here quickly. Got a little bit more to talk about on this one after this one. But this is another online purchase. A friend of mine gave me the hint that a seller had been selling these for cheap, and I had spotted this at Grapefruit Records also for some time now, and I always passed on it. It was always like 27, 30 bucks. I'm like, can't do it. So I don't know if this had been selling very well, but they're finally dropping the price on this online to 15 bucks, and that's what I paid for this. And this is Naomi Lewis, Seagulls and Sunflowers. This is their sophomore LP. Private press from Utah. Got some nice liners here, long, lengthy liners. Cool photographs and newspaper clippings on the back. I think she had only 2 LPs during her time period. Cottage Songs was her first one. This came out in '76, and this one's a lot more, even though there are a lot of different styles she's going for, I wouldn't necessarily call this psych folk, but it's primarily folk based, a little bit on the chamber folk side. It also has a lot of, soft rock moments from the '70s going on. And, very singer-songwriter based, great original writings here. This is just one you just have to listen to and kind of sink into and take with the stride of patience, for sure. I think you will greatly appreciate this one with some time listening, like I did, because initially I thought, well, it's a little bland, but the writing's good. Great musicianship. And she just sounds like one of these people that I just want to hang out with, artistically. She just seems to really have it narrowed down. She lived in Germany a couple years before this record and had some experience there and moved back out to Utah. Sounds like you're just kind of walking amongst forests and canyons in Utah. It's really, really beautiful record, so definitely one to check out. And these next two, yeah, these are the ones from Omaha. This one, I was quite surprised by. I don't take too many blind leaps on things, especially like for $40, but man, the hype sticker actually got me on this, and the hype was real. So this is a compilation. This is 2 LPs called Ghost Riders. This is on the Efficient Space label. And this came out last year. This has got some great compilation of US-based artists and bands from like mid-60s to mid-70s, roughly. And I didn't recognize any artist on the back, but once I streamed this, I streamed like a song or two in the car, I was like, okay, I'm liking this vibe. And then once I put it on last night, I was like taken away. I was like, this is so good. So stylistically, it's primarily like garage pop ballads, and you could say little hints of like psych folk, and psych is kind of a broad term, I guess, for this, but it really stretches a whole unique, nocturnal sort of teenage brokenheartedness kind of vibe. Even though I don't think all these are teenagers necessarily, there are some young kids performing on here. They're all very moody, very looming, this kind of like I said, kind of a brokenheartedness, but yet optimistic about the future sort of sounds. It's really, really hard to describe, except really very much reminds me of that Lewis Wayne Moody High compilation from Numero Group. But I almost prefer this. This is really awesome. I mean, it's not really fair to say because it's 2 LPs, but show the hype sticker here. So, just reading this alone kind of got me settled in here. I hope you guys can read that. And that's from the shop, Grapefruit. And then there's from the record. Hopefully you can read it. Looks like it's not coming up, but I'll read a little bit of it here. A North American road trip of coming-of-age garage ballads, 65 to 74. Ghost Riders hovers in a liminal, emotional ravine between moonlight, melancholy, teenage heartache, and unchecked, unrealized ambition. This 2LP connects the dots between British invasion fanatics, child prodigies, the loners, the luckless, from psych folk howlers to tangerine dreams and wispy breakup B-side blues. Kind of a mouthful there, but sold me right away. So yeah, the only thing I guess I'm a little disappointed about, it's not really a nitpick at all, but I would have chosen maybe different sleeve art. It just doesn't really describe the music too well. I mean, maybe it does. It's just kind of ripped patches of like different photographs here. Kind of gives a brokenheartedness, kind of a mysteriousness to it, which, the music definitely reflects that, but I don't know, it's just a little too bleak and it doesn't stand out. And, you know, even before posting this, I'm like, it's probably not going to get enough traffic or attention. And this is too good to be missed, I think. So, yeah, some kind of minimal liner notes, but it shows you where they're all from, the different artists. And they don't come in paper sleeves either. They just come in those, you know, these sort of sleeves. But anyways, I'll have to replace that later. But yeah, there's some phenomenal tracks on here. The Foretels with She. Wow. And then I think, you know, if I had to really pinpoint maybe one track, check out Until Then by Teresa Lee. That nails the mood of this whole record. And then Jerry McGee, Twilight Zone. That is a haunting, haunting track. And then, yeah, Carol. I think his name's Carol Martin. The Boy Called Billy Joe. That is some scary stuff. That is stuff you would hear in like a David Lynch film. And I guess it was recorded in Stephenville, Texas, which is like known to have UFO sightings. So yeah, that definitely nails the mood right there for you. But got one more here. So yeah, that's the other one I picked up. I wasn't in a super big hurry to pick this up. I mean, I had spotted this at record shows, maybe a couple record stores over the years for like $5-10, and it's not the best copy, but it'll be one just to get me by, because I listened to this earlier this year and I was like, okay, I'm gonna seek this one out because this is very good. So pronunciation time: Val Stoecklein. Yeah, Gray Life on Dot label. You can pick this up for like $5-10 all day. So he was a member of the Blues Things from Kansas. This is sort of his like escape from, you know, sort of pop ballads and garage roots into more like a singer-songwriter, sort of a T.S. Bonnewell type of approach, you know, with his move on Capitol. Even though this is not nearly as somber as that one, it's definitely more delicate, very tender, but kind of, you know, seeking something at the same time in the sort of Baroque pop and chamber folk kind of vibe. And for what it is, you know, I think it's a pretty short LP. It's got a lot of short songs on it, you know, that make up around 3 minutes or so. But really solid works, and it sounds like he'd been kind of going through a breakup here, and some of it kind of reflects that. It's pretty nice. I think, is this the dude that took his own life or something? I think he had like a dark path later in life, but unfortunately, but yeah, not nearly as moody as people say, but it's got a hype sticker on here. It says, possibly the most tender and broken folk records out there. I mean, they're not too far off the path, but on the plain old Dot label. And I do recommend this, you know, if that kind of sounds like your bag. Like I said, you know, kind of could have found a better copy down the road, but it'll do for now. Played really nice last night. Spun it once, so. Okay, that about wraps her up. So check out Ghost Riders. That's for sure. I mean, check them all out. You guys probably saw that 40-second clip I made yesterday of the Damon records. That's a whole other story, right? I'll probably share the full story once I acquire one of them, which is in the works. But just to find those Damon 45s, Song of a Gypsy fella, with one signed, autographed single, and just doubles of the Onk label, that's crazy. Like, I don't know how those ended up here, but there had to have been some close connection, I think. That's pretty wild. But yeah, I'll let you guys go, and have a good rest of the week. Have a good Thanksgiving, and we shall see you soon.